Hi everyone and welcome back to the Lisa Lash's School of Music YouTube channel. We've been looking at the basic features of Ableton, what to expect when you open the software for the first time, and today we'll be looking at features in the mixer section and a few basic ways to manipulate samples. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button if you enjoy the video. And let's get straight into it. So let's look at the mix section. Now, what is the mix section? It is basically this part here on the right of the channel, and a few things we can do is we can change the volume of a sample. So I've loaded up a kick sample and a synth sample, and let's just hear them together. So I've got these two samples. So say I want to make the synth sample a bit quieter. So I want to lower the volume. So I'm going to go to where it says 0 here. And if you click and hold this button here, you can lower the volume this way. So -3, I've lowered the volume. So if I play the samples again, the synth sample will be quieter by 3 decibels compared to the kick sample. So let's hear it. I can lower it more, and I can increase it. So if I want to go higher in volume than the kick drum, there we go. So another thing you can do is you can mute a channel by pressing on the yellow box that is for the particular channel. So say we're back here with our synth melody and we want to mute it, so we don't want to hear it. So basically we go here to the yellow box and we just press it until it becomes grey, which now means it's muted. So the whole channel's muted. So if I press play again, I will only hear my kick drum sample. Now to unmute the channel and to have the sound come back again and, so we can hear it, you can press the grey box again until it becomes yellow. There's another function which is really interesting, which is called soloing. So, say for example, I want to listen to my melody sample only without the kick. So what I would do is I would go right next to the yellow box, to the box that has the little S letter. That means solo. And then if I press it, I activate it, now it's blue. And if I press play, I will only hear the synth sample because I have soloed that channel. So I press play. And this is very useful, for example, if you have a project with like 10 channels and you want to make your melody perfect and you're changing and chopping things and you just want to hear it without all the other instruments playing, it's very useful to press solo and just hear it by itself and make any changes that you'd like. To unsolo, you simply press the solo button again until it becomes grey, and yes, now the solo function is off. Underneath the solo button, we can see a different box with the letter C in it. C stands for center. So basically what you can do with this button is you can hold and slide it up or down, and if I slide it up, it says 20 and the letter R, which means that I've shifted my sound towards my right speaker. So in my studio setup and in most studio setups, producers have a stereo kind of sound system with a right and left speaker, or even a bunch of right speakers and a bunch of left speakers for the more advanced producers. So if I slide, as I said, my cursor up, I transport that sound more towards my right speaker. And if I double click, I go back to the center, which means you can hear the sound equally on the left and the right speaker. And if I hold my cursor down, I transport my sound more towards the left. So let's just do a test. So if I go on to 30L, which is towards the left, and I play my sounds together, if you do have two speakers left and right, you should hear the synth more on the left side, on the left speaker. And if I go to the extreme and I go to the maximum 50L, you should be able to hear your sound, the synth sample, only on the left speaker, which is pretty cool. Placing sounds more to the left or more to the right or more to the center is a technique called panning. Now I'm going to move on to some basic editing techniques. So I've got my synth sample. Now I might want my synth sample to play for less time in my project. So right now it's playing for, let me just change this so it's an even number. It's playing for this particular amount of time. But say I would like my melody to play for less time than the kick sample. So what I would do is I would go to the edge of the sample that I want to change. So I'm going to my melody sample to the edge of it, and I see the angular brackets appearing when I hover around the edge of the sample on the top. So now if I hold and drag, I can either make my samples like play for less time. So now it's going to play for less time than the kick. So if we hear it, so I've made my synth sample play for less time, so after a point you can only hear the kick playing by itself. I can also make the clip play for more time, so again, angular brackets, hold and drag to the right, so now I'm making my sample play for more time. So we have reached the end of this episode today. Really enjoyed teaching you guys about the mixer section and some features including soloing channels and panning. And I hope to see you in the next episode where we'll be looking at the sample editor. Take care.